Welcome to World Wrestling Straya. I'm Adam from FWCI, and this week I'm joined by a co-host and special guest, the man simply known as KG. KG, welcome to the show.
Hey man, thanks for having me.
So just give us a bit of an idea about your history with wrestling, just so people know, we don't have some jobber on the show.
Oh man, I'll job, that's fine. But I don't know, man. I've been a wrestling fan for way too long. I dabble in graphic design. I have my own little side hustle called the DQ. So I do graphic design for wrestling companies in England, America, and Australia. I've been working with Southern Territory Wrestling over here most recently. And we had Brooksy, as you know, become the Southern Territory Wrestling champion in our main event only 20 days ago. So, it's nice being a part of something local.
Yeah, absolutely. Friend of the show, Brooksy, the triple champion at the moment.
What a ledge.
He is a ledge. Well, that's probably a good a segue as anyway. Let's jump right into the Aussie Wrestler Watch, as we always do.
G'day, mates. Well, I reckon this is it.
So let's start off with Brooksy, actually, because on October 31st, he's going to be at the Aqaba Hotel in Adelaide defending the Emerald Crown title against a fellow named James Cray. I know the Aqaba Hotel intimately. I spent many a weekend getting absolutely blind there, but Brooksy with his first championship defense with the Emerald Crown title.
It should be good, man. Like the RCW guys put on quite a show. Like we were pretty lucky. We got to work with a lot of them recently, and they're beyond talented. So I'm pretty keen to see how that turns out.
Yeah, he does good work. Well, jumping into the usual number one, Rhea Ripley, the Nightmare. So Rhea took to social media to inform fans that she lost her suitcase in Albuquerque, New Mexico while traveling. The suitcase included her gear and her women's championship. I mean, you're in pretty good company as far as losing championships while you're traveling around. I think it's Chris Jericho and Rhea Ripley. That's good company right there.
Yeah, so it's top tier. Like you can get away with it because Jericho got away with it, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think it was all over the news that she ended up wearing Damian Priest's pants for the rest of the live tour. So that was an interesting choice there. Rhea Ripley and Damian Priest sharing wardrobe.
I don't know what's scary, the fact that she fits it or the fact it looked good.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. She's a beast. Love Rhea Ripley. Jonah had Broden from Auntie Donna on his podcast this week. The Jonah Drome is a fantastic listen. I'm going to talk a little bit more about this later on in the show, but did you happen to catch Broden on the Jonah Drome?
I haven't seen it yet, but I have to because I love a little bit of man beast up in my personal space at all times.
That's right. Well, as long as it's not man bossed, that's the important thing. But I love Broden so much. He's definitely my favorite member at Auntie Donna. So it's a great conversation between the two of them. Over on NXT, it was Indy Hartwell and Persia Pirotta. So Persia was in a triple threat. Winner of this match got to spin the wheel, which is a pretty innocuous reward considering it's then a random spin of the wheel. It doesn't really mean anything. But Io Shirai would win that match. Persia looked pretty good. In fact, Persia got the opportunity to look better than good because halfway through the match, JC Jane nearly broke her goddamn neck and then had to get taken out of the match. So Persia actually had the unique opportunity, my Dario Cueto line there, the unique opportunity to, have a one-on-one match with Io Shirai on the fly with, obviously the plans for the triple threat going out the window. But what did you think of this triple threat match?
It really makes you wonder what the original finish was supposed to be. Like, did it pan out the way it was supposed to? But it was bad. Like the fact that Io still managed to do a flip and land on it, it's like, what actually happened in that moment? It was scary. There's a lot of stuff happening at the moment that's a little scary.
Yeah, it was wild. With that being said, Io absolutely nailed the moonsault at the end. Like that was sometimes she doesn't quite do it, but on this occasion she absolutely killed it.
Yeah, there's no one better. She just the no look moonsault is just something else.
Yeah. Grayson Waller was on NXT as well. He lost to LA Knight. So a lot of L's for Grayson Waller. LA Knight, if you're going to lose to anyone, LA Knight's not a bad person to lose to, but it's a shame that Waller didn't pick up the win. Would have liked to have seen him be the host for Halloween Havoc.
Yeah, but given his little vignette pre their match, it's like it was never going over. It was never going to happen, unfortunately, because it's LA Knight's show.
It's fine. Grayson Waller's got a she's all that thing to do with Cameron Grimes. So we'll have to wait and see how the makeover goes for Grimy, I guess. Jess and Cass, the Inspiration. So they are basically having their first Impact match this weekend. It's going to be on tomorrow morning, so I don't know what's going to happen with that just yet. But they also teamed with an artist called Harley Cameron to make an entrance music video for the Inspiration, like a new song and a bit of a promo video as well.
Yeah, it's not my cup of tea, but I'm a big hairy guy that likes metal and not that kind of stuff. But who knows? Who knows? It could be good. I read through the comments and I'm in the minority, so it's not for me. But I don't know. Maybe you liked it.
You know what? When you read through the comments on Twitter and it's for a female wrestler, you know you're just going to have nothing but insanely devoted stands on there, just going nuts. But I do have plenty more to say about this, but I'm going to save it for later in the show. Yeah. Buddy Matthews will debut for New Japan at the Battle in the Valley event in San Jose on Saturday, November the 13th. So that's going to be his New Japan debut. He's taken a few indie bookings here and there, but that's his first sort of big, appearance that he's going to be making for a major wrestling company.
Yeah, let's just hope he gets to walk through that forbidden door and we get to see him go against some of the boys in the tub.
Yeah,
that'd be lovely.
Yeah, that would be good. Imagine him in the G1 or something like that. I mean,
man, yeah.
The next G1's going to be fucking stacked, I feel like. I might have to really pay attention and follow along with that because I've never followed a G1, but if we're going to have Buddy Matthews in there and Bryan Danielson and CM Punk, for example.
Yeah,
come on.
That's something else, really. I watch a lot of wrestling content every week, but I don't watch much out of Japan, and I'm really scared for my timetable moving forward. It's going to be a little bit of an overload.
I don't blame you. Tenille Dashwood. So she was in a match on Impact with, she teamed with John Schuyler with Caleb Conley.
Caleb with a K.
Caleb with a K. That's him. Got the guy. They went up against Jordan Grace and Falabar. Is that how to say the guy's name?
Falabar. Yeah.
Falabar. So there was a triple threat, like intergender match with Chelsea Green and Crazy Steve involved in it as well. I haven't seen this match. It was Dashwood and Schuyler getting the win, but I like the fact that they're doing something different, like a triple threat intergender tag team match. I just think that's a unique match type that, it doesn't take a lot of thought to put it together, and it's something different.
Yeah. Intergender things are one of those, like, they divide opinions, but you've seen how enormous Falabar is. Like, he's a big dude.
Yeah.
So there was one point where he was threatening to come off Brett's rope, off the second rope onto Tenille, and you're like, oh god, this is it. Like, there's no coming back from this if he lands on you. It's all it would take would be one little mistake, and someone's career is temporary. Put in the shelf.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, at least Tenille picked up the win on there. She hasn't been on Impact much the last few weeks. Duke Hudson. Now, he had a sketch on NXT where he was backstage in the poker room doing his poker thing. Very, very cheesy. He looks more like a male stripper. It looks like a softcore porn more than anything else. But I kind of dig the concept of like him breaking down his opponent's hand and, trying to show that he's like, this is a strategic move and all that kind of thing. So it was a maybe for me on that one. What did you think of Duke Hudson's promo?
I'm just glad he's on TV, and I'll just leave that there, hey?
Well, that's exactly it. And Duke Hudson was also on 205 Live, or 6'5" Live, as he was calling it on Twitter, in a winning effort against Malik Blade as well. So, anytime Duke Hudson's on TV getting a win, I'm down with that. I wish they let him keep his Tony Modra nickname.
Man, Tony Modra, what a ledge.
Oh, hang on. You're from Perth, so are you a Fremantle guy?
Well, kind of. I just vividly remember my old boy playing Super Rules of the Veterans Footy League, and his first game in like 20 years, he went out in the field against the Manjimup Ducks, and they had these duck whistles. And who does he go up against? Tony bloody Modra in his first game out of the AFL.
Oh, that's amazing.
But you couldn't write it, man. It was just the best.
See, Duke Hudson's from Adelaide. I'm from Adelaide as well. And yeah, Tony Modra was God level kind of thing when he was, doing his thing in the AFL in Adelaide. So, yeah, I would love to have seen him still be called Tony Modra, but that's fine. And that wraps it up. There was no Zion Quinn. There was no Slapjack this week. No Tony Storm on SmackDown, I'm pretty sure, unless she slipped by in a backstage segment.
Honestly, I can't even remember anymore. There's been so much wrestling this week; it's out of control.
Yeah, we'll get to Crown Jewel as well. So, let's move right on to the news. Thank you, Bad News Barrett. Yes, it is time for the news. And yeah, we've got formal Bad News Barrett in the stinger there with his suit on and his gavel, not cash Bad News Barrett, as we saw on NXT 2.0 this week.
Everyone's getting a do-over, including Bad News.
Oh, that is bad news. When they gave him that shirt, he looks like he is like the host of Blue's Clues or something. Like, it's just so... He looks like a dad. He looks like someone's dad.
Yeah. See, I know your show's got a segment called Yeah, Nah, and if you were to do one this week, it would probably be about the NXT guys' outfits. Absolutely nah.
Oh, man. Yeah. I don't know what was going on commentary there, but Dax Harwood and Cash Wheeler of FTR are the new AAA Tag Team Champions. They defeated Rey Fenix and Penta El Zero Miedo on Dynamite on Saturday night in Miami as Las Superanas, and they got unmasked during the match. I was not completely against this. I like a good, I like the Los Conquistadors back in the Attitude Era. I'm all for some goofy comedy like, the villains put on the luchador mask and they do the thing like that. But with that being said, you had some thoughts on what CM Punk was talking about on commentary.
Well, he kind of spoiled the finish in the opening couple of minutes, but it was because he wasn't buying into. He's like, clearly this is FTR. We're not buying into this, right? But you could just hear Excalibur and co on commentary just going, "Go!" Like that. That's the finish, bro. And sure enough, when they pulled the masks off in the match, the crowd got worked because they were supposed to. And CM Punk for the rest of the show on commentary was a little bit sheepish, not as cocky as he was going into the show.
Yes, yeah, I didn't fully know that it was FTR when he said that. I was kind of like, oh, it is FTR. Like, I thought it was 2.0. I thought it was Everrise. I thought that's who it was going to be revealed to be. But
Everrise would have been a fair shout. It could have absolutely been.
Yeah, but you'd think with the fact that it's going to be a title change as well, that they would, even wait until after the match and then unmask. Like, even the unmasking during the match, I was a little bit, not in favor of.
Yeah, I must have been having a beer or two when I was watching the match because it wasn't until it was over that I actually realized it was for the belt. So I missed something along the lines there completely. So that made the whole angle kind of botch, if you will. Yeah, a little weirder, but who knows?
Yeah, exactly. Oh, sticking with AEW, it was Danielson versus Suzuki during the Rampage buy-in on YouTube. A lot of people have always considered this to be a dream match. I mean, Daniel Bryan's part of a lot of dream matches during his time in WWE. People have wanted him to get in there with some New Japan guys. It was Danielson picking up the win. This was a pretty hard-hitting affair to be expected,
it was,
I guess.
Stiff. Absolutely stiff. Man, the amount of shots taken. D-Bry, or Bry-D, however you want to put that now, he got pancaked, like one of those forearm shots. I don't know if you've seen Peter Griffin when he's like on the ground after falling down the stairs. That was Brian, man. He can't keep doing these kind of things. Like I've watched that match 3 times now. It was great, but man, he surely can't keep doing this to himself.
Yeah, maybe like on occasion. I feel like AEW's been pretty good being sparing with that kind of stuff. Like we've seen Moxley and Omega have like some really full-on matches. Moxley a little bit more, but obviously he's asking for more and he's more into it. But I feel like you look at Omega, they haven't overdone him trying to get into these crazy, kind of matches and stuff like that. So hopefully we don't see Brian getting his head kicked in and punched in and elbowed in and forearmed in as much as we did in this match in the future. But
it was great television or YouTube viewing rather, but man, it was great.
Well, and if this is, Tony Khan, like just saying, hey, we might as well do these matches while we have the chance, then good, because that's something we've been missing for a long time. What else we got here? Undertaker was in Saudi Arabia introducing Pitbull to the stage during some performance, while WWE was also in Saudi Arabia.
I was so scared that he was going to show up during Crown Jewel. I was certain, even to the point in the main event, because they randomly there was a no DQ stipulation announced for the Roman match just before the show, and then in the pre-show they removed that stipulation. It was like, oh, surely it's because Undertaker's going to walk in and something shit's about to happen. Thankfully, it didn't. But why, Taker? Why?
Well, it was Mr. Worldwide, man. So
yeah.
That is the extent of my knowledge of Pitbull, by the way.
That's all you need to know.
He's Mr. Worldwide. But speaking of Saudi Arabia, obviously we had Crown Jewel this week, which we'll go into the results about that in a short while. The women's champions swapped their titles on SmackDown. So I was wondering what was going on with the draft. We had the Raw women's champion being drafted to SmackDown and vice versa. The whole thing didn't make any sense. None of them, dropped the titles or anything like that. And then they just swapped belts, which to me is, I guess it makes sense, but it's kind of dumb as well. Like, it's just why swap your champions anyway? I don't know. I don't know what this means.
But even the way it was done, like the whole just take the belt. I don't want anything to do with this. And it's like, man, like surely there's somebody at that boardroom meeting that says that idea is not good. Do it again. Yeah. It didn't happen. It was average.
Yeah, it was a very bizarre way to swap the champions over. But the new rosters took effect on SmackDown, and that saw the debut of Hit Row, who won a squash tag team match on the show, and backstage intros for Ridge Holland, Aaliyah, Garza and Humberto, and Sheamus, not Shayna Baszler, Sheamus, as I mistook him for earlier. So I guess we're going to finally see the new rosters. It's at the point now where I'm not even really too bothered by drafts. Like they do them so frequently and they very rarely mean anything anymore. There's no allegiance to any show. Like if you look back how it was in the original days, Undertaker was a SmackDown guy, Triple H was a Raw guy, Cena was a Raw guy, Batista or Edge or whatever. There was people that swapped, but it was, you had your distinct people that were the backbone. And when you would then have the drafts and you bring somebody new in, okay, well now you got to go up against the Undertaker because this is SmackDown and you have to go through him kind of thing. Like it just added a better element to it. But the new roster splits don't get it.
But now, wild card. I'm a genius.
Wild card, bitches! Yeah! What?
Wild card, bitches. All right, Charlie. Charlie Kelly. Jesus Christ. I cut the brakes. Oh God. But so it's we've got the new rosters. So let's see if that improves the show somehow. I don't think it will because it hasn't in the past. That's me.
Yeah. The only thing that will improve is the fact that Hit Row are on SmackDown now, and that's fresh rather than just swapping for the sake of it. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, and I'm keen to see more Xia Li as well. Meanwhile, Rampage defeated SmackDown in the key 18 to 49 demographic, averaging 328,000 viewers to SmackDown's 285 during the 30-minute battle. So this is not the full show. SmackDown did beat them in the ratings for their entire shows, but for the 30 minutes that they were actually head-to-head, it was AEW with the win. And I'm sure Tony Khan was just jizzing in his pants over it.
Yeah, he needs to stop. Just stop talking. You talk too much. Bischoff, Booker T, countless other people are just saying, just stop. Just keep putting on a good wrestling show. That's all we want. You don't need to be a character on the internet. We don't need it. Everyone really likes you, but people are turning on you fast because you talk too much.
Yes. I hope he keeps doing it. I do. I really do.
They're the pot.
It's like WWE has been on top and so definitively on top for so long that they are just completely delusional. And I like when anybody brings something to their attention. And even if it's just not a troll, but just a random kind of, vague competition sort of statement. Like I'm down with anybody punching up to WWE because they have really strangled the wrestling world for such a long time that honestly, it's coming. It's coming. It's due.
That's fair. Maybe I should just shut up. I'll take Eric's advice and just simmer down in the background here.
No, I get very passionate about certain.
Absolutely. We could go for hours about that.
Let's jump into the NXT results. So I'm going to cover NXT and Crown Jewel this week because Dynamite's on this weird schedule now that really doesn't match up good with the show. So starting with NXT, we had a segment with Johnny Gargano with Carmelo Hayes and Trick Williams. They had a little bit of a back and forth in the ring over the North American Championship. And Trick Williams started talking about Indy Hartwell, calling him Johnny Gargano's daughter, which was weird. But he's saying Indy's trying to slide into, Melo's DMs. Oh, sorry, by the way, World Wrestling Straya, we give it this one. Melo! Is it me you're looking for? But it was Dexter Lumis showing up behind Carmelo Hayes. That's the one. And it looks like we're going to get the four of them at Halloween Havoc, but more about that later on. That was a fun little segment. I like that they're giving Gargano and Dexter, a bit of on-screen camaraderie, I guess. I'm liking this new, alliance.
I dig it. I thought the whole daughter-son thing was a bit weird, only because Candice is expecting. Maybe that's why they did it, but it seemed a little strange. But I love Dexter and I love Johnny, so I'm keen.
That's it. Well, he's like, you take care of your daughter. And I was like, talk about his pregnant wife like that. That's pretty, his unborn child. That's a bit messed up. And then he's like, Indy Hartwell. And I'm like, oh, right. Okay, we're doing that. We had Odyssey Jones defeating Andre Chase. Both of these guys are still coming along. Andre Chase has got a weird character, man. What is his deal? He swears all the time. He's dropping F-bombs and saying bullshit and stuff.
I don't know. But Odyssey Jones is another one of those guys that was on 205 Live recently.
That's right. 405 Live in his case.
Yeah.
But it was Jones picking up the win. Imperium defeated the Creed brothers, which was a bit of a surprising outcome, to be honest. I like the Creed brothers, but I also like Imperium. I think they're a bit hurt not having Walter with them, but Marcel Bartel in particular, I see great things for him in the future. He's such a great heel.
Dude, the Imperium can all go in their own right. It's a very special little. I don't know if they work in 2.0 though. Like they're almost too serious for this new colorful NXT world. Maybe they could do with sitting around the mid card tag team kind of area on a Raw or SmackDown, or Survivor Series is coming up. Put the Imperium boys against them. They've done it in the past. Do it again. But who knows?
Yeah. I kind of dig Imperium. We also had Cora Jade defeating Elektra Lopez, which surprising victory for Cora Jade. I dig Elektra Lopez. I'm definitely on her side. What were your thoughts on Cora Jade and Elektra?
Cora's cheeky little wins, the little small package victories. Why? Put her in a match. Let her have a match. She doesn't. When she's not doing that, she's like kissing her boyfriend backstage. I don't want to see that.
I think it's a side effect of NXT having so many new characters to introduce, but only having a limited amount of time. They have to have these short matches and these backstage things. Lash Legend still hasn't even come close to having a match. Like it's a bit of a too much stuff trying to go in the funnel at the moment.
Yeah, early days. We'll see what happens next.
That's it. In a triple threat match, it was Io Shirai defeating Persia Pirotta, JC Jane. This was to get the spin to determine the stipulation for their women's tag team title match. God damn it, there's so many things to add at the beginning of this friggin' match. The NXT women's tag team title match, triple threat, ladder match, Stairway to Heaven, or whatever it's called. This was a great match. Like we said before, Persia had the opportunity to go one-on-one with Io for a majority of the match. But yeah, JC Jane, Jesus.
That suicide dive was almost exactly that. She came down hard. We were chatting about this earlier. We were comparing it to Brie and Lita, and we eventually came back to and then Red Velvet. But it was scary, and Io managed to hit her with a moonsault directly afterwards, and then we didn't see her again after that, so I hope she's okay, but it was a bit of a frightening moment.
Yeah, I think it was probably more of a cautionary thing. I think she might have maybe just been a bit shaken up or something, because she didn't seem to hit her head or anything, but she came down completely upside down, which is, that's got to be a little bit daunting, that kind of speed and things like that.
Yeah. Let's hope we don't see that again.
That's it. Oh, somebody we definitely will see again is Tony D'Angelo. Hey, forget about
Don't talk about it.
Yeah, he defeated Ru Feng. Do you think they thought he was going to be taken as a babyface when he came out? Because I don't think they did.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't really know what they're doing. We'll see where it goes, but it's definitely a throwback kind of shtick. Hey,
The vignettes are very heelish, but then when he comes out, he's doing all this one, and the fans are doing it, and they're cheering him. So I think they thought they were going to get a different response for this character.
give it 6 months and he'll be tossing out mini pizzas into the crowd, man. We'll see.
He will be. He's almost at that point already, to be honest.
Getting there.
In tag team action, it was Legado del Fantasma defeating Josh Briggs and Brooks Jensen. I love Legado del Fantasma. I could take or leave Briggs and Jensen. There was also some brawling backstage with those guys involved as well. LA Knight defeated Grayson Waller. Now, this match was to determine who's going to host Halloween Havoc. Obviously, LA Knight getting the win. I wish it was the boy. You know, they used to bill Grayson Waller from Summer Bay, New South Wales, and then they stopped and they changed it to Sydney.
Thank Christ. I'm not a home and away guy, but we don't
I'm not a home and away guy either, but the fact that he name dropped Summer Bay, I thought was absolutely hysterically niche and Aussie, and I don't know why they got rid of it. That sucks. And in the main event, it was the NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa and Bron Breakker defeating the grizzled young veterans in a bit of a dull main event, to be honest, considering the people we've got in there. It was a good match, but it didn't really create any drama or anything like that. It was a little bit, but not much.
Can the people that are about to face each other in a pay-per-view coexist?
No, tune in next week, yeah.
Hall of Fame!
So there was actually a sketch that happened on NXT that I completely forgot to mention on the original recording. So this is an emergency re-recording for this little bit. So I'm going to start the emergency Hall of Fame. That's going to be where if something was so bad, or maybe it was good, maybe if something was good, and for whatever reason I miss it on the first record and I have to go back and do an emergency recording, it goes in the emergency Hall of Fame. This week, man, this week it is the amazing sketch on NXT 2.0 between Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner.
They've done Cal Bloomer dirty here. They really have. I've just brought it to my friend Adam's attention here that this is the son of Lord Tensai or A-Train or Elvis or whatever you want to call him. Yep. He came from Matt Bloom's balls and now he's doing this. So prepare thyself.
This segment, Kyle O'Reilly looks like a goddamn idiot in this segment. I'm not gonna lie, it's bad.
He looks like a Kyle, but not in the good way.
Yeah, like these ridiculous glasses that he's wearing. The dialogue is so badly scripted and badly acted. I said a couple of weeks ago that Kyle O'Reilly's not the right guy to be pairing this dude up with to get some personality. They're both as bad as each other. Like, I feel bad for both of them, like just drowning in this, attempt to do something theatrical or like cinematic, and it's just bombing so friggin' bad.
From main eventing with Adam Cole to this, just like that. NXT 2.0.
yeah, exactly. He's definitely a casualty of NXT 2.0. But, I mean, we got Wagner chop down a tree and then drag it up a hill. This is his big plan that's made Kyle O'Reilly go, you know what, Wagner, you are out there, but if we can get on the right page, really, Kyle O'Reilly, that impresses you, chopping down, lodging an axe in a tree and then standing back and going, yes, that's it, is it?
He appreciates his choice in logs and enjoys having a single beer in the evening. They just have it in common. It's relatable. It's for the everyday man.
Oh my God. Now, I don't know if they're looking at actual fire or if they're actually looking at a script, but I swear to God, you can see Von Wagner reading along with a script during that segment.
And they're going to have William Regal come out in his He's a Man gimmick, and he takes both of them under his wing and then takes them into the forest and they can cut down trees properly. Maybe we're being worked and we shouldn't be so quick to be harsh. But I do think it's pretty bad.
Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner with lumberjack gimmicks with William Regal as their manager. I would buy that for $1. I definitely would. And that's probably about it, actually. It's Halloween Havoc next week. So we'll run through the matches, do our picks. The host is going to be LA Knight, as we mentioned. Special guest will be Chucky. Yes, Chucky the doll. Not a fan of Chucky being on NXT.
I wasn't a fan of him being on WCW back in the day. So he's gone from humiliating Rick Steiner to potentially humiliating his son, who is not a Steiner. He's by all means not a Steiner, not to be a Steiner.
I don't know why he's not just Rex Steiner. That's such a great name. But Chucky's murderous spree knows no bounds. So. So the matches we've got, this is most of these have still got a spin of the wheel to determine the stipulation, but I've got listed first Raquel Gonzalez versus Mandy Rose for the NXT Women's Championship. What do you reckon? Is Raquel keeping the belt or is she going to the main roster?
I think they'll put it on Mandy, but Mandy's work is fantastic. She'd be a great representation for the brand, and that's not just because she's a 12 out of 10 babe. She can go. She really can. I don't care what color her hair is. She's a good wrestler. So I'd like to see him put the belt on her. Let her go with it. If anything, it will elevate the division for a bit. Whether Raquel will go up or not, who knows? We'll see. Will she do anything up there?
I think the main reason I think Mandy Rose is going to win. I think Raquel will go up, and I think it's because Vince McMahon is now running NXT, and he's like, "Oh my God, why is this?" Latino woman. Yeah, exactly. So I think with Vince with his hands on the wheel at the moment, we're going to see Raquel go up pretty soon. So we both agree Mandy Rose for the win. The Scareway to Hell ladder match. That's the triple threat for the women's tag titles. Who do you think we're putting it on? I think it's going to go on Toxic Attraction. I think they're going to walk out with all the gold.
But man, I hope something terrible doesn't happen. If anything's wrong in this pay-per-view, it's going to be in this match. But I think it's time that the belts come off Io. Oh, and Zoe. Sorry, not just Io. Yeah, sorry, Zoe.
Yeah. I'm warming to Zoe Stark. Her name was Dirt for a long time because she beat Toni Storm in her debut. So I'm starting to warm.
Yeah, I like it, but yeah, just the random tag team, it's run its course for me. But yeah. Who knows?
Yeah, exactly.
It's old NXT. We're in the new NXT era.
So is your pick Toxic Attraction or?
Yeah,
yep.
I'd say
same. All right, we've got the debut of Solo Sikoa. He is the third Uso, so he's in the bloodline technically. So I don't know why he's called Solo Sikoa, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say he wins his debut.
Who knows who they'll throw to him, but yeah,
Drake
the bloodline keeps growing. Hopefully they do something with it and acknowledge him, but who knows?
That's it. And we've got the NXT Championship match, Bron Breakker versus Tommaso Ciampa. So this does not have a wheel stipulation. This is just a straight up one-on-one match. You know what? I'm going to go with Breakker. I'm doing it. I'm doing it. Yeah.
There's been build, but it feels like there's been no build. But I think Ciampa will retain. We're at odds on this one.
Yeah, all right. No, that's good. That might be the tiebreaker because the next match is Imperium versus MSK again with some sort of stipulation for the tag team titles. Imperium's been kind of lurking around, but MSK hasn't really done anything since they won the titles either. So I don't know if they still have something to do, but I'm going to go with Imperium.
I'm torn. I really like MSK, but I like Imperium. I like that traditional wrestling, like I want Imperium to win. So bugger it. Let's say Imperium.
All right. Good logic.
Can't fault it.
And in probably the match that I'm most looking forward to from the show, it's some sort of haunted house match. Gargano and Loomis have got Carmelo Hayes' North American Championship. So it's going to be Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes trying to retrieve that from some sort of haunted house. I think this is great storytelling considering how shit scared Johnny Gargano was in the haunted house. Was that in Halloween Havoc last year? Or was that Cameron Grimes he was with?
That was Cameron Grimes and Loomis because they had the zombie referees and because the zombie referee was at the wedding as well.
But he'd already had something kind of similar with Johnny Gargano, I think, shortly before that, or there was some kind of on-location deal between them, I'm sure.
It should be fun though. I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, I like all of those guys. I even like Trick Williams. I think he's got a good good promo, good rhythm to what he says, great pronunciation and everything. So he's
what he can actually do in the ring. I've seen him talk more than wrestle. So let's see where that goes. Carmelo can obviously go. So let's see if Trick's as good.
Yeah, absolutely. So we've got let's have a look at the results from Crown Jewel. So we started off with the Usos defeating the Hurt Business via pinfall. Good match.
It was okay. I didn't know this match was happening. I don't know that. Like, I don't know about you. Like, because different brands, all that kind of jazz. Why are the Hurt Business back together? I'm glad they are, but why? It doesn't make any sense. That kind of came out later in the show a little bit. Like they're hinting towards something. I hope it's hinting towards what I think it is, towards Survivor Series, but I don't want to be wrong on the internet again. So, we'll move on to the next match.
Well, the next match was pretty decent. It was Edge defeating Seth Rollins. This was in the Hell in a Cell. It was a brutal match, to be honest. Like there was a lot of weapons involved. There was that sick bump through the table as well. But what was your thoughts on Edge versus Rollins?
It was great. And compared to the last time we saw Rollins in a Hell in a Cell match, same cell, but considerably better match. I really enjoyed it. And you're right. That spot off the turnbuckle into the cell through the table, man. Even wrestlers with chains, if they wrap a limb, it never stays put. But he managed to get the chain to wrap around his boot, and even that spot was kind of fun. So I liked it. It was a really, really good way to start the show.
Yeah. I don't appreciate you bringing up the last time Seth Rollins was in a Hell in a Cell, but I'll let it slide.
I'm sorry, man, but it happened.
Mansoor defeated Mustafa Ali via pinfall. This is a weird. That whole thing was just
Romania.
yeah, exactly. RK Bro defeated AJ Styles and Omos via pinfall to retain the titles. What a weird tag team division Raw's got going on right now. What is this?
Yeah, you've got AJ Styles, one of the best to ever do it, kind of helping this greenhorn monster get over. But you also have Matt Riddle coming out to the ring in Saudi Arabia on a freaking camel. Man, Rusev's tank be damned. That was amazing.
Is that because like scooters are like banned in Saudi Arabia or something? Is that
well? He came out on the scooter and then looked at Randy and said, "No, not today, Randy. I'm not using my scooter." And then it took him a couple of minutes, so he must have had a hit of something backstage. But yeah, what's funny is the camels are huge, and Omos is like eye height with this camel, just out of control. But yeah. It was entertaining, but yeah, the tag teams are a bit all over the shop on Raw.
Yeah, absolutely. We had the final of the Queen's Crown tournament. Zelina Vega defeating Piper Niven. I refuse to acknowledge the name Doudrop. I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Piper Niven should have won it as well, to be honest, but how odd. Zelina Vega went from just being the most jobberest of jobbers to just suddenly getting wins. Like there's no explanation for it. She just went from losing every match to now suddenly winning every match. It doesn't make any sense. Just happened.
Yeah, but long story short, Doudrop lost.
Well, yeah, Piper Niven didn't lose. That's a good point. We had Goldberg defeating Bobby Lashley via pinfall in a shockingly entertaining match. These guys, we had weapons involved. It looked like there was actually, like, Goldberg actually looked... You know what I figured with Goldberg? He has better matches, not good matches, better matches at this stage in his career with big, jacked up dudes that can still throw him the fuck around that ring. Like, Bobby Lashley can, like, throw somebody. Brock Lesnar can throw somebody. Braun Strowman, whoever he's, like, fighting... But then when you have like Undertaker or, when you have him, go against, some of these other guys that it didn't really kind of work out with, he isn't as good. He's still not great, but this was a step up compared to what we've seen from him as of late.
Even his match at Mania against Drew wasn't the worst Goldberg we've seen, but this was definitely a step up. I really enjoyed it. And I've never thought I'd say I'd enjoy a Goldberg match again post WCW. That's a lie. Some of his matches against Jericho and Rock and stuff when he first came in, they were good fun. But yeah. On your Goldberg, you did it, boy.
I'd say the last Goldberg match I enjoyed. I did enjoy the two very short ones he had with Brock. I think one was at Survivor Series and then the other was at WrestleMania. But they both went for like less than like 4 minutes. They were really, really short matches. I remember being entertained because it was just like you had unlimited finishes, you know? It was just like F5 spear, F5 spear, German suplex, F5 spear, like jackhammer, kick out. Like it was just a
They both got booed out of the building at that Mania, if you recall, though.
No, not that one. I'm talking a recent Mania match.
Yes, yes.
2004 was lock up, get booed, shove, get booed. People's chant for Stone Cold, lock up.
Oxy was the referee, and that was terrible. Yeah,
oh, man. Thank God they did that, by the way. That place would have fucking rioted.
We've stuck by wrestling since then. It's pretty loyal.
Yeah. In the King of the Ring tournament final, Xavier Woods getting Zelina Vega-esque kind of win over Finn Balor. Again, just kind of come out of nowhere. Finn Balor was very, I'm not going to say protected, but he was like very respected. Like he was very feared for what he could do in order to win a match. Xavier Woods just getting the win with his regular old finisher. I think it should have been with like some sort of roll up. I think that would have really like put it over the top. The finish felt a little bit like, really, Finn's going to get pinned by that. But congratulations to Xavier Wood. Anyway, we'll talk about more about him later on the show. Well, speaking of the New Day, Big E defended the WWE title against Drew McIntyre. I didn't get the chance to watch this match, but the outcome is right, so I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
Yeah, to me, that match is no different to what Breakker Ciampa is going to be. It's just same storyline. Yeah. Will they coexist on the show before the pay-per-view? Probably not. I don't know.
A triple threat match for the Women's Championship. Now, was this for the SmackDown Women's Champion? Yeah, because Becky Lynch is in it. So Becky Lynch defeating Bianca Belair and Sasha Banks to retain the title in coveralls and T-shirts, which, I don't know. To me, that's like pretty... That makes these crown jewel shows feel so blech. You could be optimistic and say, well, they're helping this people progress, but no, these people have to go there and cover up his shit still. Like, that's not progressing. That's not accepting another culture for what it is or anything like that. That's still, shoving your, whatever the fuck you want to call it down people's throats. So I really dislike when they take the women over to Saudi Arabia just because they make them cover up. I think it's just still a very kind of slimy sort of thing to have to deal with. So I don't know. I'm sure the match was fine, but this whole thing was just not good for me.
Yeah, I was watching this live. Call me crazy, but it was in WA. It was 3 o'clock in the morning, maybe 3:30 in the morning at this point, and even my Devil's Nectar wasn't helping me get through. I didn't think it was exciting. It was okay. But I'm not a Becky guy. I prefer Bianca and Sasha any day. But whatever. It was there because it was there. They had their reasons.
There you go, being wrong on the internet again. They're gonna come out.
My bad.
And in a pretty solid main event, it was Roman Reigns defeating Brock Lesnar to retain the Universal title. We still didn't get any answers on what's going on with Paul Heyman. He slid that belt right in between the two, and his language is still... Yeah, like it's still like, what's going on with this? But it was an entertaining match, very hard hitting, and a lot of Paul Heyman drama, which was always good.
I think Paul Heyman is the most watchable thing on main event WWE currently.
Yeah.
Between everything that's going on, like I love face Lesnar, the whole ponytail and actually cutting promos for the first time in 20 odd years. Awesome. But Lesnar, absolutely Lesnar, but Heyman is just top tier. He's doing some of his best work at the moment, I feel.
Yeah, no, I agree. Heyman's been. You have to think, like, if you go back and like look at wrestling as a whole and think like who was the most consistent performer, Paul Heyman would probably have to be like it. I mean, wrestlers have like a peaks and stuff like that because their age and the physical stuff. But if you look at people that are behind the microphone largely and think consistency and everything like that, he's unmatched.
Yeah,
probably the brain maybe.
People over the years, but yeah, from dangerously to now, he's top tier.
Yeah. Well, Bobby the Brain obviously is also at the top.
Yeah, there's always exceptions to the rule.
Well, let's jump to the next segment. This is all the regular segments, starting off with Better Than Baron Corbin.
Well, Nakamura has swiped the crown again. Steady Corbin.
So this is the segment where we have a look at what's going on with old mate Baron because we love to hate him. And then we go see who's had a better week than him. So Baron had a pretty good week, I guess. He got the pin over Shinsuke Nakamura on SmackDown wearing his... Honestly, I almost feel like Baron Corbin's shirt this week was better than Baron Corbin because it looked very late 90s, the Great One, The Rock inspired. That design looked like the $10,000 shirt or whatever it is that The Rock used to have.
There you go. Corbin's shirt, better than Baron Corbin.
Well, but we got it even better. We got a better than Baron Corbin's shirt. How about that? We've got Xavier Woods, the King. King Woods finally achieving his dream and won the King of the Ring in Saudi Arabia. A little bit of a bittersweet moment, I feel, for him. Like we were just talking about, I feel like he would have much rather been on US soil with his friends and family and, you know, being able to like celebrate properly. Because I don't know, is he able to go out and get on the sauce after that show and get, you know, blind drunk? Yeah, exactly. And so I feel like it kind of sucks in a way that had to happen on the show that it did happen on. But it was a decent match. The win kind of came out of nowhere. It definitely was a case where they decided who was winning that tournament at the very start. Finn Balor, a little bit of a casualty in the crowning of King Woods, but I enjoyed the crowning on SmackDown as well. Kofi Kingston there. Somebody on social media mentioned that he should do a cosplay as a different king every single week. And I would be totally down for that. Like from all throughout pop culture, I think that'd be great. Or even just from wrestling.
Oh, dude, he's a video game guy. He could pick so many people. But think of it this way, dude. Prince will always be the prince. He's only going to be the king for a year unless, you know, Boogs or Shinsuke steal the crown in 6 months' time. So who knows? Maybe it's a blessing that Balor didn't win it.
Hey, Baron was the king for like 2 friggin' years.
Yeah.
What the hell?
Yeah. Wow.
Xavier might be the king until the end of time at this point. Who knows?
Yeah, that's just him from here on until he gets his release notice.
Hey, let's not speak that into existence. Yeah, that would be, you know what? AEW would go gobble, 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 and then their fucking YouTube, footprint would just go through the goddamn roof. And that's what would happen. That's why I say one of them's going up, the other's going down at some point. Something's going to happen.
Yeah, I can't wait for that moment, like right there. That's that.
It's going to be good. It's going to be fun. It's going to be fun. And again, this is maybe 20 years from now, but again, we're just saying the trajectories at some point. But anyway, Xavier Woods, the king, better than Baron Corbin. And it's time for this week's You Gotta Be Joking Me. This is the segment where we have a look at something going on in the world of wrestling that makes you just say, you gotta be joking me.
It can only be one thing. It has to be Undertaker on stage with Pitbull. Mr. Worldwide. But why? Why? The whole of Crown Jewel, I was terrified he was showing up. Thankfully, he didn't. But man, not good. Taker, stop it. You don't need to do these things. Stop it.
Yeah, that was a weird thing to see. At least, you know what? At least he was on stage introducing Pitbull, and he wasn't on stage introducing All Elite Scooby-Doo. What is the bigger you got to be joking me with Undertaker? Introducing Pitbull or doing cameos for All Elite Scooby-Doo and wishing him well on his marriage?
Undertaker saying he doesn't want to become a parody of himself in here, like just on loop. Come on, Mark, get it together, man.
Oh no, but you know what? He would have got paid an absolute mountain of cash to be there. Yeah. It's not a coincidence that he was there the same week. Whoever's bankrolling, Sweet Saudi Money 6 or whatever the pay-per-view is called, whoever's bankrolling that definitely got Taker over there. So he's like, great, fuck. If I knew I could retire and I'd still get paid millions of dollars just to like do this dumb shit, I would have retired friggin' years ago.
Yeah. Nah.
But the real You Gotta Be Joking Me, and then this one breaks my heart as well. But I mean, and this is in a week where we had The Undertaker introduce Pitbull. We had women wrestling in coveralls in Saudi Arabia. We had Bryan Danielson getting his head kicked in by Minoru Suzuki. The Inspiration decided to release a promo video for their new theme song that they're going to debut in Impact. I don't really care for the song. It's fine. There's nothing wrong with the song. It's not a bad song or anything like that. It is what you would expect a song to be for a female tag team in 2021 wrestling. But the video clip is a bit bad. It's
cringe. So much cringe.
Yeah, it's just the two of them. They look fantastic in it, but whoever edited and put that video together did not do them any favors. They did not make them look good. They didn't make them look intimidating or sexy or whatever the fuck it is that they were trying to go for.
They weren't inspiring, that's for sure.
And you know what? It sucks. And it's this week's You Gotta Be Joking Me, but
deep dive, on the other side, better than yesterday.
You gotta be joking me.
You beauty! You beauty!
this week's You Beauty is also The Inspiration having their debut on Impact Wrestling. That's happening like tonight, so tomorrow morning. So I haven't got any of the results or anything like that. But on the heels of the You Gotta Be Joking Me, the You Beauty is that we're going to get a promo and a wrestling match from The Inspiration this weekend. So are you happy to see The Inspiration back in the ring?
Yeah, they're probably going to take the belts off Decay, but it's not the worst case. It's a pretty good time for Australian wrestling. Those girls are going to do good.
I think they're going to look like absolute superstars when they come in, get the titles in the first night and everything like that. Unless, of course, something gets executed in the same fashion that the music video did, in which case I'm very worried. But I can't wait to just see them in the ring doing their thing. I can't wait to see Jessica McKay with a microphone in her hand. That's the thing I'm looking forward to the most. So The Inspiration's debut on Impact Wrestling, You Beauty.
You beauty! You beauty!
But it's time for the weekly Jonah Twitter check-in. This is where we just have a look at what's going on with me old mate Jonah on Twitter and see what he's talking about. But as we mentioned earlier, Jonah had Broden from Auntie Donna on his podcast. I fucking love this. They talked about so much because Jonah and Broden both grew up in Adelaide around about the same time that I was also growing up in Adelaide. They're talking about video shops that had wrestling videos, where you can get the best chips. They're just talking about like the most niche shit. Like I'm sure American, let alone people from like Victoria or Perth or whatever, Americans would have been listening to this going, what the fuck are they talking about? Like, what is video easy?
Anything to do with Auntie Donna and Broden, right? Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But it's just Broden, man. You can't not. I was meant to see those guys back on the 12th, but you know, the world's going crazy. It never got to happen. I haven't got to listen to this podcast yet, but you've given me a heads up that it was on, so I'm definitely keen to get my ear holes wrapped around that one.
Yeah, this was a really good episode, especially if you do like Auntie Donna and Broden. But the Auntie Donna boys have their own podcast as well. Broden has like a running character, Andrew Gaze, Father of the Year.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely love it. So, you know, shout out to Broden, shout out to Jonah. This is a fantastic episode of Jonah Drome. Go check it out. That was this week's Jonah Twitter check-in.
Won't stop even when my hair turns gray. I'm tongue to sleep. Won't stop until they
Fuck on me!
So if you guys want to get involved in the show, use the hashtag YeahNah down in the comments and ask me a wrestling question. If it's a yes or no question, or just leave an opinion or a comment or whatever like that, I'll get to it on the next show. We're going to have some more figure giveaways in the future, so that's going to be fun. I really want to thank KG for joining me for this episode as my co-host. This has been fucking awesome. Thank you for jumping on and doing it.
Thanks for having me, man. It's been pretty good. It's talking about wrestling, dude. There's fewer things better in the world. I appreciate it.
That's all good. Don't forget to go check out NBA Straya as well with Jimmy. The season has started and it is going to be an absolute cracker. We don't know what's going on with Big Simo. Patty Mills is putting up 20-odd point games. It's absolute scenes. Jimmy's got you covered 5 days a week. Go check out NBA Straya. If you're into collecting, go check out the Wrestling with Figs podcast with Chris and James as well. If you're in the Aussie figure collecting community, it's a great place to start, so go check them out. Follow me on Twitter at FWCIE and Instagram at FWCIETC. Have you got any social media or anything you want to plug or anything you want to?
Oh man, absolutely. Follow everything I'm doing. I'm at the Dotted Quaver, at the DQ. I'm doing stuff with Southern Territory Wrestling. Check it all out. Absolutely top tier stuff. Plug your own shit. Thanks for having me, man. I really appreciate it.
That's absolutely fine. Thank you guys for checking out this show. And as always, be well, stay safe, look after your friends. See you in the next video. Peace.